The South Today bulletin, proudly brought to you in association with MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Tonight on the South Today, investigations continue into an early morning fire in South Dunedin which destroyed an old boarding house. History is being uncovered for a second time as archaeologists dig up Arrowtown's Chinese village. And it's a big weekend for New Zealand rugby with the Black Ferns in Dunedin for the first time in over 2 decades. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Simon Henderson. Fire and emergency services were rushed to a South Dunedin property this morning after neighbouring residents reported the building going up in flames. The house was in the process of being demolished after being gutted by a similar blaze in April last year, an incident which killed one man.
Waking up to the sounds of sirens wailing. Phillip Street residents may have been expecting to see snow outside their windows on Friday morning, but instead witnessed an out-of-control fire at this building, believed to be a boarding house. This video taken by a neighbour shows the property steadily burning to the ground, with flames starting to spread to nearby houses. The fire was well ablaze when fire and emergency crews arrived shortly after 6:30 a.m, after receiving multiple calls.
We did have some difficulty with getting water. This is a notoriously bad area for water, but once we've got enough people here on the fire, we'll be able to get that sorted.
Builders who have been working at the property told fire crews up to 5 homeless people had been staying there at times. Police are still investigating that situation and working with Finns to establish whether anyone may have been in the house when the fire began.
We still have an unknown number of people that have not been accounted for.
Finns crews worked hard to get the fire in Kensington under control, with the blaze only causing damage to a small number of neighbouring properties. Some roads remained closed this morning while work continued. A police drone will be used to assist investigators, with the cause of the fire yet to be determined. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Traffic has been closed off to a central Dunedin street this week to allow heavy construction work to be carried out at a new multi-storey office space. Large trucks and loader cranes are working on the construction of the new ACC building in Dowling Street, which has caused disruptions for residents. The central Dunedin road was largely closed off to traffic this week, although limited residential access was allowed for parking. Work began on the new ACC office space last year, and the steel framing is now taking shape at the site. Foundation work is expected to be finished next month, with hopes of having the whole multi-storey office completed by mid-2025. Otago University has officially opened its most modern college facility. Te Rangihiroa College is just 5 minutes walk from campus and features a large dining room, social lounge, study spaces along with media and music rooms.
The new Te Rangihiroa Residential College welcomed invited guests for an exclusive look at the state-of-the-art facilities on Friday. It's the first new purpose-built residential college for Otago University in more than 50 years. The $100 million hall at the corner of Albany and 4th Streets features 4 wings, each made up of 7 floors, including 5 for accommodation.
We've just come from the main entrance there with the reception area and then come down the learning corridor into the tutorial space.
The college is named after Otago alumnus Te Rangihiroa, also known as Sir Peter Buck, who was the first Māori medical graduate from a New Zealand university. More than 100 Ngati Mutunga descendants travelled from Taranaki to attend the opening ceremony. Cultural Māori design elements have been weaved throughout the building, while maintaining its key focus of meeting the needs of students.
It's more than just a bed, it's a home away from home, it's about learning, it's about social elements, it's about growing as a young person.
The original Te Rangihiroa College on Castle Street has been renamed Castle College. It's likely to be demolished in the future as part of the new hospital build. The new Te Rangihiroa College will officially open its doors early next year, welcoming around 450 first-year students from across the country. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A major historical find has been unearthed at Arrowtown's Chinese village. A team of archaeologists and rangers have been painstakingly uncovering excavations from around the historic site, with 6 lead ingots among the surprise discoveries.
Uncovering some intriguing Arrowtown history that was almost lost to time. This group of archaeologists are re-excavating a number of old Chinese miners' huts in the central Otago town. Some curious school children assisted the group of 5 as they spent a week uncovering the stone hut floors in the former mining settlement. They had originally been unearthed in 1983, but were filled in again by natural causes and visitors.
So over those years, some of the sites that were excavated, they've just infilled over the years, and just through natural processes, but also some visitor, walking over things and all that, it's done a little bit of damage.
The huts were originally built in the late 1800s by Chinese settlers who arrived in Arrowtown to work during the gold mining boom. Senior Heritage Advisor Michael Schmidt says the team are working with 40-year-old photos from the original excavation in an effort to uncover the exact same area before they carry out further excavation work.
And then leave it at that, because those excavations relate to the research that was done on them. So when people come here and they hear the story, they can actually see the site that was done 40 years ago.
After removing a tree that had grown through one of the sites, the team discovered an old axe head, cleaver and lead ingots, which Schmidt believes were used by a rabbiter to melt down and make gun pellets. The team planned to install protective barriers around the stone floors to allow interested visitors to view the heritage sites while still protecting them from further damage. In Arrowtown, the South Today.
Dunedin's major fashion event is switching things up with the aim of offering some fresh new shows for fans. The popular ID Dunedin fashion show will now be held every 2 years instead of annually. Organisers say that will help them make ID an even better and more high-profile event. Along with the railway station fashion show, the ID International Emerging Designer Awards will also now be hosted biennially. Organisers say disruptions due to COVID-19 made them realise they could make improvements to the show by hosting it every 2 years, which would allow more time to secure funding and market the event. But they insist fashion lovers won't totally miss out on entertainment. A new and smaller fashion show will be held in the years between the flagship catwalk event. The next ID fashion show is set to take place in April 2025. It's a massive weekend for international rugby, with 2 big competitions happening on opposite sides of the world. The All Blacks are preparing to take on South Africa in the Rugby World Cup final in France, while the Black Ferns are also taking to the field a little closer to home.
Practicing their catch and pass drills as players get ready for a big rugby match. The Black Ferns arrived in Dunedin this week, getting in some training at Logan Park ground ahead of their clash with Wales on Saturday. It's the second week of the WXV1 series. New Zealand's hosting the inaugural competition, which is described as a new chapter for top-level women's international rugby.
We haven't in the past been able to play a lot of test matches, and this just shows, I guess, where we're at as a team, and it helps kind of shape us to, have. It just gives us a good idea on where we need to work in certain areas.
Midfielder and former Otago Spirit player Amy Duplessis is looking forward to being back at her old stomping ground. The Black Ferns haven't played in Dunedin for 26 years.
It's the first time the Black Ferns have played here in a long, long time, and under Forsyth Bar. So, to be able to come down here and show the different fan base what we have is awesome.
And the round-robin match against Wales isn't the only thing on their minds. The All Blacks are set to take on South Africa in the Rugby World Cup final on Sunday. The Black Ferns joining other fans across the country in backing the boys.
Far out, All Blacks been massively inspiring, and what they've been through the last few years, and for them to really step up when it matters. So, All Blacks.
Dunedin's WXV matches kick off on Friday night, with Canada taking on England at Forsyth Bar Stadium, ahead of the Black Ferns versus Wales match on Saturday night. In Dunedin, the South Today.
E whai ake nei, still to come on the South Today. Tourist hotspots get a tick of approval, and a slice of fishing history comes to Dunedin.
It's my mate John's Halloween sale. He slashed 20 to 75% off everything, plus pay it off interest-free. Halloween sale!
And my mate John.
Such a sweet girl. What are you dreaming about?
Just music.
The Power of Dreams by Honda.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Here at Age Concern Otago, we offer a range of services to support Otago seniors to age well with dignity and independence. We provide social work support, visiting service, health promotion and social activities. Check out what we have on offer at ageconcernotago.com.
Welcome back. A popular travel guide company is seeing value down south, adding the Southern Lakes and Central Otago regions to one of their top 10 lists. Lonely Planet has released its Best in Travel Hot List for 2024, naming the South Island tourism area as 9th in their list for best value. That may surprise some, with Central Otago known for its luxury wineries, ski fields and adrenaline-filled activities, but Lonely Planet says it was the extraordinary landscapes that landed the region in their global top 10. The travel guide believes places like Queenstown and Wanaka are among the best valued spots in the world because you can enjoy the natural beauty for free. The Southern Lakes and Central Otago were the only New Zealand locations to feature in the Best in Travel 2024 list. While most modern fishing rods are made with carbon steel and top quality engineering, a much simpler model has made its way to Dunedin. An historic split cane rod has been donated to the Toitu Settlers Museum, the century-old antique preserving a slice of history.
Underneath this tattered bag lies a relic lost in time. This 1894 split cane Hardy fishing rod has returned home after being hidden away in a garage for more than 100 years. The fishing piece belonged to early Dunedin settler Alexander Campbell Begg, and now his descendants have decided to donate it to the Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
It's inscribed. It's split cane, you can't buy them now. It's a rarity, it's unique, it's an incredibly good order, and it's got to be preserved.
Begg's believed to be the first person to legally catch a trout in New Zealand while fishing on the Leith River with his friends in 1874. He was given the rod in recognition for his work with the Otago Climatisation Society, a group known for introducing a number of foreign animals to Aotearoa.
I hope it's find a place here that's worthwhile, and maybe there'll be an exhibition one day of fly fishing or what the Otago Acclimatisation Society did in the past. They did good and they did some bad.
And Beg's passion for angling seems to have been passed down through generations. His great-grandchildren are also keen on the outdoor hobby and hope his old fishing rod might provide a glimpse into local history. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Investigations are continuing into an early morning fire in South Dunedin which destroyed a derelict boarding house. A team of archaeologists have been excavating historic mining huts for a second time in Arrowtown's Chinese village. And the Black Ferns are in Dunedin, fitting in some training ahead of their WXV rugby clash match against Wales on Saturday night. Now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT with Associate Editor Mike Houlihan. Hi Mike.
Evening Simon. Well, we've got extensive coverage from your lead story, the big fire in South Dunedin this morning, which most of us woke up to seeing the flames in the sky. Quite a lot of information over and above what we know already. We haven't yet discovered whether anyone was in the building, unfortunately. Hopefully not. Also, of course, the other big moment for the day for most Southerners was the snow. Spoke coverage of that as well. Very unseasonable winter blast, late October. We launched a new project telling the story of Dunedin and the South's place names. There's a coverage of that on the front and also in our Mix magazine. And of course there's rugby over the weekend, the Black Ferns in town, plus the big game on Sunday morning, the Rugby World Cup final.
Excellent. Thanks very much for that. Look forward to reading that.
Thank you.
Now, some residents around the lower South Island woke to a bit of snow on the hills first thing this morning, bringing a wintry touch to the spring weather. And while the temperature gauge didn't plummet as low as expected, there was still some intermittent flurries across the city this morning, as well as parts of Otago and Southland. Some snow did settle on Flagstaff and Mount Cargill overnight, but not enough to cause any major issues. And on that cold note, let's have a look at what's in store for the weekend's weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Starting with the situation, a cold southwesterly airflow should begin to ease into a fine weekend. Heading to the top of the South Island, Nelson and Greymouth are fine with light southwesterlies, a high of 16 degrees. Christchurch is fine with light winds and a high of 14. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago, Ashburton and Timaru are fine with light winds and a high of 14. Much the same for Oramuru, but a touch cooler on 13. Heading westwards to the Central Lakes, light winds and fine for Wānaka, Queenstown and Alexandra, with Alexandra inching ahead of the pack on 15 degrees. Heading further south, Balclutha and Gore are looking fine with light winds and 14 degrees, moderate southwesterlies and some cloud for the Catlins on 13. Across to Invercargill, it's cloudy tonight with strong cold southwesterlies and a 1 degree low. The wind and cloud should break tomorrow with some sunny periods slowly increasing during the day and a high of 12. Sunday is looking mostly fine with milder northerly winds and a high of 15. And finally heading to Dunedin, there's some gusty southwesterlies but mostly fine tonight. Tomorrow is looking cloudy and cold, but some sunny periods could develop with breezy southwesterlies easing. Sunday is looking fine and sunny with some moderate northeasterly winds. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. You can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand, or follow us on Facebook. Search for the South Today NZ to see our favourite stories from around the regions. We'll see you again on Monday. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.
The South Today Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.